Am I wrong for eating breakfast in front of my boyfriend's dad? I do want actual fair judgment, so for full disclosure, I do not like this guy. I have never liked this guy. I've known him since I was a kid, and everything about him just annoys me. I don't think I outwardly express it, but he probably doesn't think he outwardly expresses how much he doesn't like me either, and he definitely does. I'm trying to be fair in the way I explain the situation, but he would probably tell a different story. I work at the same company as my boyfriend's dad. I don't work for him. He isn't my boss. He's above me in the hierarchy, but not directly. You have to get at a 45-degree angle to get to him from me. We still see each other often and work together sometimes because that's just the nature of what we do. After my boyfriend and I first started dating officially, he told me that when he told his dad about us, he said, "You can't date that guy. We work together." Okay, well, nobody needs your permission. Oh. He was never particularly nice to me before, but since then he glares at me whenever he sees me. I do my best to ignore him, but it's pretty unprofessional. Speaking of professionalism and lack thereof, I have been written up twice for tardiness. This isn't a huge deal. It isn't great. It means I probably won't get promoted this year. I am one of those people that think, I have plenty of time. I have plenty of time. Oh shit, I'm running late. Like the time between doing good and running late doesn't exist. Yes, I know I have ADHD. My boyfriend, because he's awesome, has tried to help me in whatever way he can. He makes these breakfast burritos, freezes them, and puts one in the oven every morning while I'm getting ready. I take them to work with me and eat them during my commute or when I get to the office. Efficiency. This morning, I was standing in the office, eating my burrito, loving life when my boyfriend's dad saw me. This time, he not only glared at me, he said something. He said, "You don't have to rub it in my face that you're dating my kid." I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "I know my son made that." I didn't know what to say. I thought the situation was ridiculous. I was also annoyed at him for being such a baby about everything. I took another bite of my burrito. He scowled at me and then walked away. Normally, my boyfriend is 100% on my side. When I tell him about the glaring, he says it's not okay and immature. When I texted him about the burrito incident, he said I shouldn't have taken another bite in front of him. He said that was antagonistic. Was it? I feel like his dad is a grown man and should get over it. Update 2 days later. Thank you for your support in my breakfast drama. That night, my boyfriend read all the comments on my post. He decided to talk to his dad, which he has done in the past, but this would be a sterner conversation. For context, my boyfriend is big people pleaser. He loves to do things for other people. When his mom left, he did all the domestic stuff at their house, cooking, cleaning, taking care of his little siblings. I actually think this dynamic was incredibly toxic, but that's not what this post is about. He doesn't like to fight with his dad or call his dad out on his bad behavior. His dad is the kind of guy who is used to other people managing his feelings for him, and he is shocked when people don't alter their behavior to suit his desires. My boyfriend went over to his dad's and asked him to please be nice to me moving forward because we really care about each other and are happy together. I didn't get the full play-by-play of the conversation, but it must have been productive. 15 minutes ago, the dad walked up to me and invited me over for dinner, or Friday. So my breakfast drama resulted in a dinner invite. Huzzah, win. I'm sort of nervous to spend a whole meal with this guy, but I have to give it a shot. Thanks for all the advice and support. Here's hoping the dad isn't as homophobic as I thought and/or is willing to get over it for his kid. Update 6 days later. I wasn't going to update again, but I have to because these people are nuts. My boyfriend read all the comments on the first post and they convinced him to talk to his dad. So do your stuff and convince him again. This dynamic is absolutely wild. So after the initial breakfast confrontation, my boyfriend talked to his dad, who extended an olive branch in the form of a Friday night dinner invitation. I was optimistic about this invitation. Friday afternoon, my boyfriend says he is going to head out. I said, "Isn't it kind of early for us to leave?" He says he has to get there early to cook dinner and that he'll meet me there. I pointed out how crazy that is. Why is he cooking the dinner he was invited to at someone else's house? He said his dad doesn't know how to cook. This man is divorced. If he can't cook, what does he eat? My boyfriend said before we moved in together, he cooked. Now he thinks they eat a lot of takeout. So all of that is insane, but fine. If he's getting there early, I'm going with him. It makes no sense for us to drive separately. I'll help him cook. He says I shouldn't have to cook. Neither should he, but here we are. We drive over together, and his dad is annoyed. He said it was rude for me to show up early. I said I was going to help cook and he looked annoyed. My boyfriend and I cooked together. That was actually fun. That was the best part of the night. At dinner itself, his siblings had atrocious behavior. The youngest kid asked if my boyfriend was going to stay the night, and my boyfriend said no. The other brother said, "Why? Because you have to go home and screw your boyfriend?" The dad actually told him off for that, so I will give him points for that, but what a low bar to clear. The sister was bratty too, but not as bad as the others. She was tolerable. The whole thing was so weird. When it was time to leave, his dad glared at me more. The youngest brother hugged my boyfriend and wouldn't let go until his dad peeled him off. These kids literally act like their older brother is their mom. My boyfriend had to promise to come over the next day to get the kid to stop throwing a fit. When we were driving home, my boyfriend said he thought dinner went really well. I asked if he didn't think his dad was a little cold. He said his dad is awkward around new people, but is definitely warming up. I'm not new. We work together. He has known me since I was a kid. None of that counts apparently. The thing is, I don't remember these kids being so poorly behaved. I mentioned it to my boyfriend. He said they took it hard when his mom left. So, mom leaves. Dad does nothing. Younger kids lose their minds. My boyfriend becomes mom 2.0. That's not healthy. So that was dinner. Final update 9 days later. It's me, your breakfast boy. Just kidding. So, little bit of an update. First of all, everything at work is fine. Boyfriend's dad still glares at me, but not with any more frequency or intensity than before. In fact, it might be slightly less. Full disclosure, glaring is not abnormal for him. I'm definitely the person he glares at the most, but he glares at everyone, even the boss if they do something that annoys him. My existence is the thing that annoys him, so yeah, I get the worst of it, but no one never gets glared at. So that's fine. That's as usual on that front. I still bring breakfast burritos to work. If he sees me eat them, he does not comment. Some people jokingly, or maybe seriously IDK, suggested in the comments that I should also bring a burrito for the dad. My boyfriend saw those comments and wanted to make extra burritos for me to bring him. I said I couldn't bring his dad burritos every morning because I would die of embarrassment, and luckily he didn't push me to do it. But that's not why I'm updating. Someone suggested visiting his mom, which I thought was a great idea, and my boyfriend was on board. I had this grand plan of getting her to help me convince my boyfriend to cut the apron strings on his dad, which was maybe a little silly on my part. I fully copped to that. Sometimes I get a little overly enthusiastic. Some people pointed out it might not be the best idea, and lucky for me they did. I started thinking about what she was like when I knew her. You know how people say familiarity breeds contempt and absence makes the heart grow fonder? I see my boyfriend's dad almost every dad, so all the things that piss me off about him are front and center. I haven't seen my boyfriend's mom in almost 8 years. So all the things about her that were bad kind of faded to the back of my mind. What I decided to do was ask my boyfriend for her phone number, which he gave me. I called her last night, and let me tell you, I'm glad I did. You deserve to hear this, after all the good advice you've given me. This is absolutely balls to wall, insane. But enough edging, that's for evening time. First thing I did was say, hi. Her first name, because I don't know if she's still going by her married name, and I'm 24, so Mrs. Whatever felt unnecessary. I said I'm me. First thing she said was, I didn't know we were on a first name basis. It's Ms., maiden name. So great start. I apologized and said I wanted to ask her some things about my boyfriend's dad. I did not need to justify my reasons for inquiring or encourage her to share, because she was happy to immediately start unloading. First of all, he's always been incapable. He never did anything around the house, but he always had a fuck ton to say about everything. Why is that shelf dusty? I noticed you didn't make the Brussels sprouts. They won't stay good forever. Child was watching TV today. We agreed that wouldn't happen. Those are just some of the examples she gave. What a douche, right? She also told me he was the least understanding, least supportive guy to ever live. He was also Mr. Solutions. If she said she was tired, he asked her why she didn't go to bed earlier, or told her she should look at screens less. If she said she didn't have time to do something, he would tell her to pull up her calendar so they could find the problem. I can't even imagine, I have really bad time management. If I had someone breathing down my neck about it 24/7, I would snap. She said she didn't want to have baby number 4, the youngest brother. After having a daughter, she felt done. He kept asking why she didn't want to have another kid and arguing about it. Telling her all her reasons didn't make sense because of his counter reasons, which were logically superior. So she agreed to baby number 4. After the baby, she didn't want to do as much around the house, which is when my boyfriend started doing a lot of it. She said she felt so much resentment for her husband and didn't want him to touch her. She would tell him she wasn't in the mood because she had a headache, and he would tell her to drink water because she must be dehydrated. He would argue all her excuses until she just gave up. Eventually, she told him she didn't love him anymore, which he wanted to, you guessed it, argue about. He would ask for her reasons, she would tell them, and he would prove her wrong. She said she started to hate him, and she started to hate the kids too, who she felt made everything worse. She stopped doing everything housewise, and my boyfriend would do those things. She said she wanted her husband to marinate in filth as punishment for being such a terrible husband, but that never happened because of my boyfriend. She started to fight with my boyfriend and yell at him, which just, well, made him want to please his dad more, because his dad was his only approving parent. She said one day she decided to give up. She said the only way to escape was to never talk to her husband again, or he would argue her out of her position. She hasn't spoken to him in 7 years. She said she had to distance herself from the kids so he couldn't use them against her. She'll let them visit, but that's it. Just think about how insane it is that she told me all that. Like, that's really personal information. I didn't really know how to react or process, so I asked if she had any advice about how to, maybe get my boyfriend to set some boundaries. She said it was impossible and that we should break up. Well, obviously that's not happening. She then asked me why I even asked her if I wasn't going to listen and hung up on me. Yeah, so I don't think visiting her is a good idea anymore. What do you guys think? Let's discuss in the comments. Follow and like for more stories.